Welcome back. Today we are working on the Kraton 8S. Went ahead and got the fans installed. They are wired up into the Mamba Monster X 8S ESC. This is the one we just took out running with the 44 tooth pinion, but I had a lot of steering issues. So today we are solving that. Here we go. This is the Servox 0235 MG. So it's a pretty good steering servo. We're going to go ahead and stick it in there. So it is a 7.4 volt servo. And they call it tri-core. I don't know what that means. I'm not a servo nut, but this is what the servo looks like. It's got really good weight to it. So, and this is a 15 tooth. So I'm hoping that's correct for the Kraton 8S. From what I can tell on the research I did, it is. But who knows? So I got two of them. So I'm hoping that that it works and we won't have any issues. So with that said, let's get to cracking on this thing. So I don't really know what it's going to take to get this out of here. I have checked the servo saver on this one to make sure it's not falling apart, and it wasn't. So it wasn't a servo saver issue, but we will see. So right now I'm disconnecting the arm. And then we're going to go ahead and open up this receiver box, because inside the box is where the servo is housed. It seems like everything is inside this box. As RC Guy Garage would say, what's in the box? Well, we know what's in this box. It is our steering servo. Inside with the receiver. So that's where we're headed. We're headed to what's inside this box. And hopefully we can get some better steering, because if you've seen the videos on this thing trying to turn, it's a joke, no doubt. But I don't know if I'm going to have how much room we're going to have here. So I'm going to flip that over. I have to take out the screws from the bottom. I think I'm going to have to take out the whole receiver box maybe. Yep, that seemed to do the trick. So that I can lift up this whole receiver box. I know a guy who's done this once or twice. So now that I loosen the rest, yep, I'll be able to back that off so that I can get that screw out without causing damage to the servo saver. Look at that. So here's what the servo saver looks like. Now that screw in there is clockwise. So we tighten to loosen. So the cap, you tighten to loosen. Now that's the cap that blocks the other screw in there. Now that screw has a ton of Loctite on it. And remember that this arrow lines up with that screw. That's center. So I remember that as well. It's counterclockwise. And since I've already heated it and taken it out, it's not too bad right now. So, you know what sucks is this servo seems a little bigger. Then, see, and this fits just in there. I don't think this fifth scale servo is going to fit in here. Well, that kind of sucks, because these servos are smaller on the base. And I wonder if that's why I need to run a 3.6 MG, that the bases are smaller. What I can do is I'm going to chop off this ear, and then I'm going to move this out, and then I'm going to plastic weld it to the base of this wider, I think is what I'm going to do. But I got something. So, buy a supercharger kit, doesn't bolt right in. Alrighty then. So, let me unplug this. And I'm going to unplug the fan, because we're going to do some plastic welding. So here's what I got. Because I had to move this thing out, we have a gap in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plastic weld this together so that I have support on both sides for the steering, so I don't get flex like that. So I'm going to clear this off the table, and then I'm going to set up for my plastic welding, and I'll show you how that goes. Be right back. All right, here we go. Here's some uni-weld. This is fiber reinforced universal plastic welding rod. So because I'm trying to make up, I'm sure you guys seen me plastic weld before, but you see how wide this is? So and you can see that it's wire reinforced. Because I need to fill that gap, this is how I'm going to fill this gap, is that I am going to do it like this. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm heating up my iron, and this is temperature controlled, and I'm going to bring you down to my temperature controller. So here's my temperature controller, and you can set it on the different plastics that you want to weld. So there is a video on it. I've done many videos on plastic welding. So right now we are going to repair this with this. So while my iron's heating up, I'm going to cut me some strips that I'm going to need for this job. All right, guys, there you go. I don't know if you can see that, but I have now bonded this piece to my bottom piece using the fiber welding rod. So that should add plenty of strength. I am going to let it cool. I am going to turn off my gun now. So, and that's how easy it is. I truly suggest people go out and get themselves a plastic welder if they're using RC. And this uni-weld, this stuff works really, really well. It has fiber, like plastic fibers on the inside, so it makes bonding the plastic a lot better. When I first started doing this, I was using regular plastic welding rod, which doesn't have the fiber, and on mounts and on control arms and certain things I was welding, it was breaking right away. When I found the fiber rod, my welds have become so much stronger that that you don't have to worry about it. And it looks factory. Well, as factory as it can look. You can JB weld and do stuff like that. This is just so much faster to use plastic, and I can sit here and smooth this out, but this is going to be on the bottom. Now on the lid that sits on top of this, because I've spaced this out now, this actually needed to be over here. So I have a feeling that that's not going to work. I might have to shave this down. I might have to move this in, but I can always plastic weld this thing in as well if I have to. So we'll make those changes when they come. Maybe I'll be able to re-drill the lid a little wider. I just don't know at this point. But what I do know is that my weld is strong now. And this is not going to flex no more. Because of, you can see, that's hard as a rock now. Plastic welding. So there you go, guys. As you see, a quick little fix to something that that Horizon Hobby tried to do, making us buy these cheap servos. I can now throw in a true 1/5 scale servo with a lot of torque and get my Losi back on the road and steering properly without having to buy something silly like this. Like, it's almost a 5th scale. This is a 5th scale servo, 1/7 scale servo. I mean, I don't get it. They, you know, they need to standardize this stuff. Look at this. Look at the difference between this servo. Like, why cut us short? Why make something like this? Spectrum, please. Don't insult me. I'll just make my own brackets, kind of like a 3D printer. You know, 3D print yourself your own bracket, you know? So, I'm going to get the lid off, get the lid modified, get that plastic welded on so that when I install this, I can set on the lid and we're done. But to run a true 5th scale servo, there's a lot of modifications that you have to do to this case. For me, it's not that bad. Now that I know I need to move it all the way back to the case, the second one will be easy. But yeah, that's what you have to do. You literally have to move. If you run this servo number, you have to make sure the back of the case is butted against the servo box as far back as you can go, and then either JB weld this on. I recommend plastic welding. I saw CCXRC, his shark body, he broke the fin off of it. I wish he would go out and spend the $80 for a plastic welder and buy some of this plastic rod, and he can fix up that shark body in a matter of 10-15 minutes just by flipping it over, adding some rod to the inside where the tail is, and welding that back together, and he's good to go. He won't even have to fix the wrap. But maybe he will, maybe he won't. I don't know. I'm just showing you guys. I love plastic weld. My front body mount on my Mojave broke, so I'm going to plastic weld that together too. Just haven't got around to it. That one is all done. So I'm going to go ahead and get this 5th scale servo in here because I'm really excited to see how well a full-size servo is going to do on the Kraton. How much steering I'm going to have, how much control I'm going to have over this RC now is going to be insane. So let me get that stuff welded up and we'll be right back. Tell me that ain't some steering. Nice. Just want to make sure the bracket I welded doesn't flex. No flex. Servo saver seems to be working. Everything seems good.